right. We are officially live. Let me just get this situated. Okay. Hi, everyone. It's Michelle. I am back. Sorry, it has been a minute since I've been here. This is Michelle for Casa Elm in San Miguel de Allende. I am very, very excited to be back on board, talking to everyone, talking to my audience. Tonight, I have an extremely special guest in so many ways, one of my clients and also someone who's followed my channel and our journey here in Mexico and also now lives in Mexico. So he's going to educate us on healthcare in Mexico and anything insurance related. He'll point us in the right direction. So before we get into that, I wanted to say, I have been on the move. I've been super busy. I basically made the decision over a month ago, actually, to move to Casa Elm full time. So for the whole time that I have basically had Casa Elm, I've had amazing people helping me out to run the business, just kind of based on personal circumstances. But it just made sense most recently for me to move here. So here I am, I'm in Casa Elm. I am the one that you will encounter if you decide to come and stay with us. If you don't know about us, it's your first time watching. I am located in San Miguel de Allende. This is Casa Elm, the guest house. We have lots of activities that we host here. Most importantly, relocation tours for anyone interested in moving to this part of Mexico. You can also find us online at CASA, CASAELM, elm.com. So casaelm.com. We provide basically a soft landing experience for anyone who is really serious about checking out this part of Mexico and whether or not they want to come. You know, our programs give you all the information that you're looking for to get you started. And yeah, we've been doing this for almost 2 years. I can't believe it. And it's just been such an amazing journey. So I'm physically here. Last week we had our Peace Not Pieces retreat. So that's why I'm still toting my peace flower. Just kind of, overflowing into getting back on board with being online. And without saying too much more, if you have questions about anything, you can write me online. You can go to casaelm.com and you can contact us there to have any other questions answered. And so I'm excited to introduce you to Alex Dupuy, and he will give you a rundown of his background and his journey as well. But tonight we're here to talk about health insurance in Mexico and everything kind of related to that and the company that he is associated with here in Mexico, and just hopefully answer some really serious questions, because this is definitely something people have a lot of questions about, and also wonder, like, who can I contact and talk to? So I'm very excited to have Alex here tonight. So welcome. Let us know a little bit about yourself. You're welcome.
Thank you so much, Michelle. I really appreciate you giving us the time to be here and discuss a little bit what I do here in San Miguel. To give you, and I want to also do a greetings to your followers and the viewers. Basically, I've been in Mexico for 1.5 years now. We were in Guadalajara before, and following all of your wonderful videos talking about San Miguel, we definitely got convinced this is where we belonged. And I definitely do not regret it. We've moved to San Miguel 5 months ago. We are very much enjoying the weather in San Miguel, the people in San Miguel. And for the first time, I have opened a Facebook page. I'm getting acquainted to how to work with the Facebook. But I've been on LinkedIn, I'm on Instagram. So my background is that I've been in the insurance industry for 36 years. And started in Virginia, and then we moved down to Florida, in the Naples, Florida area. And this is where I have done most of my insurance business. Basically, I work with businesses. Coming to San Miguel, this is the first time I'm really doing insurance individually. I've always done it for businesses, meaning that, you own a business, and I would set up a cafeteria plan for the business, depending on how many employees they have and what kind of coverage that they would like to offer the employees. I would set all that up. And I'm still very much tied up to the United States. I come in to the United States 2 or 3 times a year since I've moved to Mexico. So, but my aim in Mexico was not to just sit and enjoy Mexico, but also to continue to provide those kind of services that I'm used to. So I was able to connect with an agency in Puerto Vallarta. The name of the agency is Guardian Insurance Agency.
Guardian.
Okay. Just want to make sure, because I just got a little note here. Is the audio okay? Because they're saying that the audio was kind of low. On my side, I want to make sure that everybody's. Let me bring that up a little bit.
I can hear you all right.
Okay.
And
I just brought my audio a little bit higher, hopefully.
okay, I can hear you okay.
Okay, great.
And I wanted to say welcome to Carla. And if anyone's watching, please, whoever's watching rather, let us know if you can't hear us really well. Okay, someone wrote and said I can hear, so we're okay. Thank you, T,
Wonderful.
and welcome.
Thank you. Very good.
Yes.
So
okay.
to come back to my journey here in Mexico, so I did associated myself with Guardian Insurance Agency. The agency is geared to expats in Mexico. So it was really, as you were saying before, a soft landing. I speak a very limited Spanish. I'm learning more. So I thought that connecting with an agency that actually target the expats, okay, would be the best way for me to help out here in Mexico.
Okay.
So we provide health insurance, all right, private health insurance, and we also are connected with a company here in Mexico that provides excellent coverage health insurance. Bupa is one of the insurance here in Mexico that I represent.
What's the name of it?
Bupa, B-U-P-A.
B-U-P-A. Oh, I haven't heard of that one. Okay.
Yeah. And mostly insurance carriers that are based out of the United States. So we can provide private health insurance, and we do also the travel insurance. Quite a few people already here I was able to place with travel insurance, and all of our carriers are located in the United States, which is very important because, in the United States, in order to operate, we have to go to the insurance regulations that are based in the United States.
Okay.
So health insurance, property insurance is also being provided. If you need insurance for your businesses, for your buildings, we do that. We also do medical evacuation.
Mhm.
We do have a program for that. We have a program for automobile and motor and boats.
Mhm.
All right. I did mention the travel medical that we
Mhm.
provide. Like if you were going to be whether coming here into Mexico or going anywhere in the world, we
Mhm.
just need to know the amount of days you're going to be out and the location of where you're going.
Mhm.
And we also do homeowners insurance for the homeowners here in Mexico.
Okay. And they also do insurance for anyone who has like a guest house, like me,
Yeah,
and
businesses.
or businesses.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to just kind of specify that because I know there are a lot of expats who, rent out their homes when and if they don't live there. So I just wanted to say that because I worked with your company to get coverage, and it was extremely efficient, and the coverage is just very clear what they do, what they recommended, et cetera, and also cost effective as well. So yeah, I just wanted to share that because I know there are a lot of people who have Airbnbs or places for rent, and it's necessary to get it, at least here in San Miguel. I'm not speaking for all of Mexico,
Right.
but also just wanted to specify as well that your company, although located in Puerto Vallarta, covers all of Mexico
All
as
of
well.
Mexico.
Yes.
We have agents, representative in Mexico City, in
Mhm.
Querétaro. I mean, most of the largest points in Mexico, we would have representatives.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Wanted to quickly say, welcome to Roosevelt. Thank you. They can hear us. Okay, so I think, I don't know if you wanted to add more to the list of coverage that's provided, but I had a personal question about travel insurance because I think most of us opt into travel insurance when we buy our plane tickets.
Right.
So how does it work? Like if we wanted to just buy travel insurance through Guardian?
Okay, so that's a good question. Basically, the travel is a travel medical insurance. So
Right.
let's say that if you were traveling, you were going to be out for 2 weeks, a month, 3 months,
Mhm.
you would be covered medically for that period of time that you are out. We call it also short-term medical insurance.
Okay.
We could never give you coverage for more than a year.
Okay.
In short-term medical
Mhm.
is always 1 year or less.
Okay.
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 So, and we can have we can have it so that it covers you specifically to a location where
Mhm.
you're going, or we can have it different locations if you're going to be traveling. So the last one that I was able to place, the client was going to Canada, from Canada was going to Norway,
Mhm.
all right, and possibly other countries close to Norway.
Mhm.
So we were able to cover that period of time for those specific locations in case if something should happen. It
Okay.
covers for accident, injuries, sickness,
Mhm.
the whole gamut.
So strictly medical, not if something else comes up and you can't go. But if you are traveling, it covers you pretty much for anything that could happen
Absolutely.
that's related to your physical. And that I want to touch on that. And Roosevelt wants to know right away how to get in touch with you because they said they have a need for almost everything except the boat insurance.
Okay. Okay. I appreciate
So
that.
yeah,
So
we will
the
put.
best way to get in touch with me
I'll
would be
type
to
it in
go
the
on
chat.
Facebook right now,
Oh,
since I'm on
okay.
Facebook. All right.
Okay.
My name is Alex Dupuy. Look
Okay.
for me for Facebook, and under my bio, I have a link that you will see in blue. You
Uh-huh.
can click on the link And there you can, it will also provide you a form when you click on the link where you can fill out the information of what you're looking for,
Uh-huh.
and then we'll respond to you.
Okay. Do you want to drop your email as well?
Oh, sure.
Okay. I'm going to put it in the chat. Which your email as well.
Let me take a quick look here.
Okay.
Just give me 1 second.
Sure.
Yeah,
Let me
it's
know
an
which
email
one.
to Guardian.
Mhm. Okay. I don't want you to get disconnected. So
I got disconnected.
no, you didn't. I just want to make sure you don't.
Ah, okay. I was looking to give you this. Just a second. I should have had this ready. I apologize.
That's okay. I mean, we can also we can put it in when you find it. I'll put this for now. Roosevelt. There's that, and then emails coming. So hang tight. If you
Just
want,
give me a second. I'm pulling it up now.
okay, I don't want you to lose me in pulling it up. So
No,
we could.
no, we good. So
Got
here
it,
it is
okay.
right now. I've got it. So
Okay.
it's Alex
Mhm,
dot my last name Dupuy
mhm.
Dupuy
Dupuy.
at Guardian Insurance.
Spelled all the way out.
Yes,
Okay. Dot.
Guardian Insurance.
Mhm.
Here, hang on, because it's giving me. Hold on. So it's Alex Dupuy
Uh-huh.
at Guardian Insurance MX.com.
mx.com. Okay.
Correct.
All right. It's in the chat. They got it.
Wonderful.
All right.
Yeah, so
Perfect.
to repeat and making sure everybody's clear on that.
Mhm,
Once you go, you can whether email me there,
mhm.
or if you go on that Facebook under my bio and click
Yeah.
on the link, there
Mhm,
will be a form that will
mhm,
come up and they can fill it out. I'll have your name, all of your information and what you're
mhm,
looking for. And
mhm.
usually I get back to you between 24 to 48 hours and rarely 48 hours. This is if I was traveling, because as it is right now, I am traveling and I am in
Right.
the United States,
Right.
but usually 24 hours, I get back to you.
Okay, no problem. I put all of that in the chat to reach out to you on Facebook, and the bio, the link, fill out the form. And then also they have now your Guardian Insurance next.
Thank you so much.
.com. So, and if anyone has any questions, you can, also contact me, and I'll pass your
All right.
info on to him as well.
And if you want to put phone number, I am on WhatsApp in Mexico.
Okay. Do you want me to add that?
Yeah.
Okay, WhatsApp. Mhm.
Yeah, the phone number in Mexico is +52. That's the area code 33.
Hold on, plus 52. 33.
3011
Uh-huh.
8723.
Okay. All right. 3011 8723. Got it.
Okay.
Okay.
And when I'm traveling, I receive messages once I'm connected to Wi-Fi. Okay.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Someone said the link on Facebook is not working. Okay, well, I'm gonna put the link in. Let me just give me a second.
Well, that's interesting because the last time I checked, it did work. So let's see what's going on here.
Let me see. We should have had this, but hold on. Hang tight. I think the name was Cassandra. Hang tight. I'm clicking on the link, and it seemingly worked. It came up for me, so I'm going to just drop it directly into the chat.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And I don't know if it only works if you are friends or not. Someone keeps getting an error message, forbidden. Interesting. It worked for me. I'm not sure why. Maybe you need to make it public or something. I have no idea. But we're going to continue. And what I'll do is I'll put your link and contact details in the description. So, and then your WhatsApp is there as well. You have the email address, so you can use those options for trying to get in touch with him. Okay, I hope it works.
And then they
Kathy
have my
said it
email
works.
address and also the phone number. They can contact me in WhatsApp. I'm going to check. As I said, I am very new in Facebook because I was never in Facebook forever. But I found out that in Mexico, if you really want to have some exposure, Facebook would be a good thing to be on. So I'm still learning Facebook, but I promise that
you'll be an
I'll
expert
check on that
tomorrow.
and making sure that everybody can have access to my link. So the link, to be clear, the link gets you to the form where you can put all of your information and what you are looking for. It's designed for that. However, for the time being, if you cannot get to it, that's okay. You can whether send me a text through fax or leave me a message on my phone number that I left you with, and then I'll respond to that. Okay.
No stress. They'll be able to get in touch with you. They have several options. So let's talk a little bit more about okay, so I got the info about the travel. That's good. And I wanted to say this because this is a recent experience. It wasn't my personal experience, but it's close to my heart because it was my dad. And it is important because a lot of times I know I have opted out of buying travel insurance. And recently my father went to Africa, and luckily he had insurance, but it was very essential because when you need it, you need it. And if something comes up or happens, it's essential. Are you still there, Alex? Okay. I thought you were here. And so anyway, he probably shouldn't have gone, but he did go. And he got ill and actually got stuck there for about 3 weeks and in the hospital for 3 weeks. And the insurance, fortunately, kind of helped to pay for him to be I don't know. When I think of emergency evacuation, I think of a helicopter taking you, or, like you're gone right away. But it was more of like they purchased a space for him in business on, I think it was British Airways. And he also was able to be accompanied by a nurse that got him all the way back to California. So in this particular instance, it was essential that he had insurance. Those things were covered. It wasn't fast. It wasn't a fast process. And I'm not speaking for your insurance at all. I'm just speaking about the experience and why I've learned from this what happened recently, that it's essential to, consider getting coverage in case something does happen to you. And that your company provides this is good to know, because a lot of times I don't opt in because I'm buying my plane ticket and I'm just kind of like, and I know some credit cards also, depending on how you purchase your ticket, they may offer travel insurance, but I just wanted to say that that's something to consider.
Thank you for that, for sharing this. But let me say this. Not all travel insurance are made the same. They are like when you purchase a ticket through an airline, they offer travel insurance, but it does not cover really medical at all times. Those travel medical insurance that we are offering through the agency to give you an example, I had made notes here and I have my flyers.
Mhm.
It covers multi-destination trips. It covers trip cancellation,
Mhm.
right? And the age limit is up to 85 years old.
Mhm.
A lot of insurance, they wouldn't do over 70 or 75.
Okay.
They also all cover COVID coverage, regardless of travel restrictions.
Mhm.
Very important. Also, you can sign up for the plan even if you're already at your destination, which is very rare.
Yes, it is. You normally have to buy it when you buy your ticket
Exactly.
or within 24 hours of
Okay.
purchasing your plane ticket. Okay.
You could have already been the destination and you contact me and we can turn that on for you.
Excellent. Okay. Well, I'm going to get coverage for my upcoming trips.
Yes. And
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you, it's not an expensive policy,
Mhm.
because if you get full coverage in Mexico, depending on your age, that could get very expensive.
Mhm.
Yes.
All
All
right.
right. Yes. So this coverage is very reasonable in price, depending on the age. As I said, it can go all the way up to age 85 on that travel, and it has a lot of features.
Okay.
You can see.
All right. That's good to know. And I think just based on this conversation and like I said, the experience that I had, I will for sure get it for my trips. I think it's essential because we just, we can't predict when something's going to happen.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think that it can, your good time can certainly turn into a miserable time.
It can.
And trying to get back, I want to emphasize this as well, because the coverage was for my father and it was not for his wife, who basically wanted to get on or did get on the same flight that the insurance company purchased for him to get home with the nurse that they had designated. And so she ended up getting the last business class seat, which cost an absorbent amount of money. I mean, way more than if she had also travel insurance. And I don't know how the travel insurance would work if you are traveling with a spouse and something happens to them, but nothing happens physically to you. Does it still cover maybe like, the convenience of you guys flying back together? So I'm speaking from, this all happened in August. So this is very recent. And so I just wanted to speak on that.
Right. Let me respond to that. So
wait 1 second. I want to say welcome to Cassandra because I didn't acknowledge her, and also Kathy. Hi, Kathy.
Right. Cassandra
Still
and
wearing my
Kathy,
flower,
welcome.
Kathy. Yes. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. So what I was going to say is that, first of all, it depends on the coverage. We do the coverage where it can cover more than one person in the family.
Okay.
Okay, so let's say it's a couple who's traveling, so we can do both spouses.
Okay.
Or if it's a family, we can include the family. It's however you want to do it.
Okay.
Other considerations. It depends on the country where you are.
Okay.
Because there are always a lot of paperwork that are tied to regulations in the country where you are. So you were talking about your dad. There were some delays in getting things going.
Yeah.
It's just exactly that. Because if there are some regulations and paperwork that need to be done in order for this to happen between the country and wherever you've got the insurance carrier, the communication can break down.
Right.
So that may cause delays.
Yeah.
So always think about that. So that's what I'd like to say regarding those delays that can happen. Okay.
Yeah, and I want to emphasize that because I actually made, I think, 1 or 2 calls to their carrier, and I don't remember the name of the insurance company. And that was something that was shared with me, because I was kind of like, do you actually cover sending someone home in an emergency because it's taking a very long time? And yeah, there was a lot of paperwork involved, time zone differences. They had to get verifications. They also needed to make sure that the hospital that, was going to admit him in California had a bed. There were a lot of things. And so
there's a lot going on when
it's a lot.
something like that
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah, exactly. So it's essential, but it's also, there's a lot to that happens. And when you're in a stressful situation, it feels even longer. But in the end, fortunately, yes, they did take care of it. It just took
A
3
little
weeks.
bit more time. And while you're waiting, everybody's very anxious to make sure that things
Yes.
happen quickly. And
Yes. Yeah. So, all right, well, let's get into the meat part of this insurance coverage. And that's, I think, for most people that are here, are always going to be concerned about medical coverage in Mexico. I also too want to talk about, from your perspective as a person who's now representing medical insurance in Mexico. Let's talk about like the hospitals, the doctors, the kind of care specialists and things like this as well, because I think the perception is that it's mediocre. And I'm not saying it's grand and superior overall. I'm just want to kind of like speak to that, because I think the general perspective that people might have is, what kind of care is possible? Am I able to get, I don't know, a heart specialist, a cardiologist, or things like that? I think people are not comfortable maybe initially with coming to Mexico if they have special conditions. So I want to talk about that, because this is also a conversation that I've had recently with my family, my dad, and I was just kind of like, maybe you should move to Mexico because you can actually get better attention and help, not just, having he and his wife, and she's kind of the caretaker and needs to do 1 million other things as well. So I was kind of, gently putting that out there. And I think the consensus is that at least they kind of aren't feeling like they're going to get the best coverage. But I want to talk about that because I know that
absolutely.
Mexico's pretty up there. Mhm.
So I'm going to talk in the point of view of my experience.
Okay, perfect.
Because I'm just like everybody else, the expats that
Mhm.
are moving to Mexico.
Mhm.
So this is what I'm going to say. The first thing that I would suggest for one to do when they consider moving to a country, come and visit first.
Mhm.
That's the first thing. And then if you agree to a place where you want to live,
Mhm.
you might want to go and find out what are the infrastructure in the area where you are.
Right.
So, especially if you have a health condition.
Mhm.
If you have a health condition where you want to have a specialist to follow you, you definitely need to do that. And the
Mhm.
best way to go about it is to probably to go to the pharmacy that is closest to you,
Mhm.
if you
Mhm.
don't know where to go, and they will direct you.
Mhm.
Here in San Miguel, this is what I did when I came to San Miguel. Obviously, I didn't know anybody in San Miguel in the health industry.
Mhm.
So the first thing I found out was that MAC Hospital was the hospital that is in San Miguel and that has the most physician in different expertise.
Mhm.
So I went there and I was able to find myself an excellent physician,
Okay.
board certified from the United States and Canada.
Mhm. Nice.
And I was able to become actually her patient. And lo and behold, I found out a lot of things by contacting that doctor and be her patient. She had a system that if you are in an emergency, she has an emergency team, like an EMS in the United States, emergency medical service, that you can call 24 hours.
Okay.
And they'll come and get you and bring you to Mac Hospital because she's privileged at Mac Hospital. She's got a clinic there, an office there.
Right.
And right away, service will be provided to you.
Okay.
Now, depending on what type of insurance you have, I'm going to tell you right away, the information that was given to me from the doctor at the hospital is that they will accept Blue Cross Blue Shield. If you have Blue Cross Blue Shield, they accept it, no problem.
Okay.
Okay. Now, other insurances, like the one that I represent from the United States, when you get to the hospital, all that needs to be done is to get pre-approved. In other words, you get a phone number that you can call your insurance carrier and let them know what's going on so that they can pre-approve. So that way, after you get the treatment and you're getting out of the hospital, all the arrangements have already been made. You don't have to worry about how much you're going to pay, or they won't release you if you don't pay because they've already taken care of that. If you don't do that, the outcome may be a little bit different.
Okay. But okay, so you need a pre-approval to get care, but what if you're in an emergency and you're how does that work?
So if you go to the emergency room,
If you're in an ambulance, they picked you up from your house, how do you get
right.
pre-approval?
So this is why I'm setting up the parameters in order to avoid any mishaps or the way things can come out for you in Mexico. I believe in prevention before trying to fix something. So if people take the time so that they already know if they have an emergency, what's going to happen.
Okay.
You understand? A lot of times, if we don't go to the source of an issue, then you won't know how to fix the problem, Michelle.
Right.
And this is where I'm coming from. And that's why I always tell all my clients, make sure that you know if something happens, that you know what's going to happen. What is the outcome?
Okay.
So if you don't have nothing ready, then whatever happens will happen. That's the only way I can answer that, because you can have someone who takes half an hour before they come and pick you up. They don't know where you are. You know, the ambulance will take some time. You know, when you get to the hospital, no one knows you. You don't speak the language.
Right. I mean, I guess, right. I mean, I understand being prepared, but there are emergency scenarios. And I think too, that there are a lot of people that live alone, right? There are a lot of folks who don't have a person that can prepare for emergency and call and get a pre-approval. So what are the steps? Is there like something, and this is just me speaking from an emergency standpoint, assuming there are exceptions to that. I just can't imagine, like, if someone's having a heart attack, right? Because that happens, them coming to get the person, like, what steps do you recommend are in place in case something like that happened or came up, and how does the insurance respond to that in terms of covering you?
Right. And that's what I think maybe I didn't express this clear enough for everyone to understand, and I apologize.
That's okay.
So if you have insurance coverage, is this what you're talking about, or are you talking about someone that has no insurance?
No, I thought earlier you said that if you need to go to the hospital or emergency, you need a pre-approval for entry to be accepted, or to make sure it's being paid for.
Okay.
Did I misunderstand?
Okay, so now I understand.
Okay.
Once you have insurance and
Mhm.
it's an emergency, it doesn't matter where you are, the insurance will cover.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
Now, we need to define what is an emergency.
Heart attack.
That maybe there are some heart attacks that are not considered emergency.
Really?
Not. Ischemic heart attack, for instance, it's not something that they consider something that is life-threatening. It could become life-threatening,
Okay.
but it may not.
Okay.
So this is the way I define emergency. As you just said, it's a question of life or death.
Okay.
Okay, life-threatening. Okay, so if it's like, oh, I feel some pain here, maybe it could be a heart attack. Well, I'm not sure, but you're still breathing, you're not lightheaded, you're not falling, you're still walking.
You're still conscious.
Okay, so it doesn't appear that it is life-threatening at this time.
Okay.
You understand? So some people, they panic, they don't know what to do, and then they call the ambulance.
Okay, gotcha.
Do you understand?
Right.
So, and this is part of the service, Michelle, that I provide for my clients.
Okay.
When I set you up on a program, I will give you recommendations, because you will need to do some homework. Like I was just starting to share with you, when I first came to San Miguel, the first thing I'm saying is that if I have a heart attack and I feel, what am I going to do? And my suggestion already to all of the viewers is to get a provider in Mexico.
Right. Okay.
Wherever you are.
Right.
Because that provider is going to barge for you when they wheel you into the hospital, whether you go to the emergency, because the first thing they want to know, who is your doctor?
Right. Right.
Okay, no matter what happened, do you have a doctor here?
Exactly.
So once you give the name of the doctor already have all of your information, everything about you. So she'll be able, or he'll be able to barge for you and say, yeah, she or he is one of my patients. Yeah, I'll be there, or whatever the case is. If a specialist need to be there, they already know what to do.
Okay.
So I'm going to go further and say that once you get stabilized, okay, this is when the decision should be made. Is it temporarily stabilized so you can be repatriated back to your home country? And this is when the decision needs to be made. For instance, if you are on Medicare, obviously, if you are on Medicare and you can be returned to the United States, the cost of taking care of you, if it's something serious, is going to be much less than if you stay in Mexico.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
No. Not the last part. So the cost is going to be less expensive for you to
The out-of-pocket expenses for you
out
to
of pocket.
remain,
Okay, gotcha.
right,
See.
to remain in Mexico,
Uh-huh.
to get treatment for something serious, if you have to have surgery, serious surgery and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
And
Okay.
if you're on Medicare, you're better off going back to the United States.
Okay. Right. That makes
because
sense.
under Medicare, most of the expenses would be paid for.
Right. Okay.
You have very little deductible.
Okay.
You see what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right. Now, if you have a full coverage
Mhm.
health insurance that you bought that covers Mexico, then
Mhm.
you're fine. And this is when, again, you need to advise your insurance. And we take care of that in-house in our agency, at the
Mhm.
Guardian Insurance Agency. A family member, a friend can call if the
Mhm.
patient cannot talk or take care of that and let them know. Because
Mhm.
once we know that, we know what to do. We have a claim department that takes
Right.
care of doing all of that.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yes.
Okay, so walk us through the steps and in terms of like the coverage that for medical, like what do you require and what kind of uh information, I guess, like for example, someone just arrived in San Miguel or they're planning to come to San Miguel and they want insurance. What are the steps here in Mexico to
The
get
first step,
coverage?
the first step in order for the application to go to underwriting.
Mhm.
Underwriting is the department that reviews the application.
Mhm.
In the application, we would ask you some health questions to see if there are any underlying issues. And
Mhm.
at that point, they will review the policy, and there are many things that can happen. They can
Okay.
issue the policy just as quoted. They can even do some exclusion on
Mhm.
certain health issues. And it can be for as long as you have the policy, or it could be for a certain period of time,
Mhm.
maybe 6 months, a year, or 2 years. And after that, they will cover it.
Okay.
Okay. So
Is
that's
that quick question? Sorry. So is that like for potential pre-existing thing, then after a certain
conditions.
period of time?
Mhm.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's fine. So we review the underwriting department reviews your application,
Mhm.
and then they will do the recommendation, or they will see if whatever the condition is, if it's control, if it's not threatening, they will
Mhm.
issue the policy as requested.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So it's actually the policies are issued on a case by case basis,
Okay.
depending
Do
on the health and the
okay.
age.
Do people have to do a physical exam by any chance?
No,
No? Okay. Okay. So basically, is it a form that they fill out online or they have a conversation with someone? Do you also, and I know we all need to learn Spanish, but do you also have individuals on the claim side or on like policy question side, besides yourself, that speak the language? I could probably answer that, but I just
yes,
want the audience to hear
yes.
from you.
And you probably find out with your experience, did you have
Mhm.
any issue with them?
No, she was on it. It was very professional
Yeah,
and on it.
that's why I chose this agency,
Okay,
because there are not too many agencies who are geared specifically to the expats.
right.
Okay. And
Mhm.
that's what I was looking for, because I gotta say one thing before I go further into that. I've been in the industry, the insurance industry, for 36 years
Mhm.
in the United States.
Mhm.
So, and believe it or not, I have clients that I have opened their account since I started 36 years ago.
Wow. Okay.
Being in the industry, it's something that is very rare, because the reason I'm mentioning this, when you're servicing an account on an individual, if you do a good job, there shouldn't be too many reasons for them to leave something good for something that is uncertain.
Right. That's true.
So I proud myself of being able to provide the service. And this is why I pick that agency, because as you may know, there is competition out there. There are other agencies out there. But I picked this one because I felt that it matched my philosophy so that I can continue serving my clients honestly.
Right, right. So I have to say that to back up what you're saying, I've been looking for specific coverage. And once you and I spoke a while ago about what you're doing, and you were kind of like, well, I do medical and I do this, but I'm going to put you onto one of my colleagues. And I was contacted, I think immediately the next day, by a gentleman who was very nice, but he also didn't have all the right answers either. And then I was then contacted by someone else, and she was extremely persistent because I'm always busy. And she took her time to really be in touch, and she sent me some info, asked some questions. And, within just a few days, I had the answers to the questions that I had, and also a quote. And I had actually reached out to, I think, two other individuals. There's someone that I've worked with, and also, I think offers pretty decent service as well. And I've worked with her for my auto insurance for several years, but it just was taking, a while to get info. And I was able to get on with Mari really quickly, had 2 quick conversations, different occasions. And, she was very professional. And I just had to kind of give her props because it was a very thorough explanation. The coverage questions I had, very thorough as well. And, just the experience of even just paying, super easy. And so I just wanted to kind of say that it felt comfortable. It felt comfortable for me to even give my, info over the phone. So I just wanted to say that I can see why you chose that company to work with them.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you, that's the way I operate in the United States as well. I looked at different companies and see the one that I feel that are going to be honest, and especially when there are claims, because people are paying their premiums, but when it's time to pay the claim, you've got insurance carriers that just drag their feet.
Right.
This is the kind of services that I provide if I'm aware, because if you don't call me and I don't know anything about it, there's nothing I can do about it. But if me as your agent, you contact me and said, I put on a claim, could you please look into it? I'll make sure that I can have the claim expedite to the best of my abilities.
Right.
Okay. Because a lot of time what happens, Michelle, it's maybe a piece of information in order to make that puzzle so they can issue the check. It could be they're waiting for an information from the medical center where you are, or they are waiting for an attending physician statement that they required that did not come in. And once I get involved, I found out what's missing, and then I can activate things.
Okay.
You see?
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so tell us, in your opinion, I know you can't really give us pricing because, as you said, each person's insurance and coverage would be different, but tell us, like, in compared to costs in the US, are we, like a fraction of the cost? And also, what does a policy typically look like? Is there going to be high deductibles?
Good questions.
And also about coverage for medical, not medical, for prescriptions, things like that.
Right. So most of those plans that we sell in Mexico, they cover all of that. And when we send out the quote, it will show in the quote the different deductibles. So you, as the applicant, you can choose how much of a deductible that you want. For instance, it can come that you have a $5,000 deductible, $2,500 deductible. It can go all the way up to $10,000 deductible. I've seen some policies with $20,000 deductible.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so you actually can tailor the plan to your budget.
Okay.
So there are those criteria, the different features on the plan that you can choose from, your age, your health conditions, okay? And those are all type of criteria that will affect the policy premium.
Okay.
Okay.
Right. That makes sense.
So you can see a policy, for instance, about anywhere from $2,000 to even $10,000 a year.
Okay.
There's a huge range. As again, those will be depending on the criteria where you fall in.
Okay. Right.
The deductibles, your age, your health conditions, what are you looking for? And that's where we're here to kind of guide you. Once we receive that form that lists everything that you're looking for and your health conditions, what kind of prescriptions that you're on and all that, we'll be able to guide you because there are various companies that are more lenient than others.
Right. Okay. So within Guardian,
Yeah, Guardian Insurance Agency.
within that, are you getting insurance from like insurance company? Like, are you more representing of it like company, local, larger insurance companies in Mexico, or is it coverage by Guardian?
Okay, Guardian is an insurance agency. It's not an insurance carrier.
Company. Gotcha. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So we have contracted with different companies in order to offer those plans. And those companies are companies that offer health insurance plans for people in Mexico.
Right. Which is yeah, I do, which is a good thing because then you can get comparative pricing from different places. It's not just this is it, right?
Right.
So I just wanted to clarify that as well. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if the audience has any questions specifically because I can go on and on about the prescriptions. How does that work mostly?
Same as the United States, if you're familiar with a regular health insurance program for prescriptions. Some of them you may see it has like, let's say a $50 deductible. So the first whatever amount it's on you. And then after that, it's $10 for generic or what have you. And they may cost even less here in Mexico. You see, depending on what type of prescription it is. Whether it's a generic, whether it's a brand name, or if it needs to be prepared at the pharmacy.
Okay. So do most of the, because, I've purchased insurance, just buy insurance with a deductible. And normally the deductible is for my choice and family. It's like $1,000 US dollars for both of us. In saying that, I've purchased mostly whatever I needed from prescription standpoint from the pharmacy, and it's typically very affordable. I don't recall ever really, even for when my mom was here, running into anything that was really, really absorbent in cost. What's your opinion about that?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the drugs because drugs are categorized. So there are some drugs that are still experimental.
Okay.
That may cost a lot of money. You probably have seen that with different type of drugs when they first came out. They cost a lot of money.
Okay.
Depending on the health issue that's going on, especially in the cancer area when they're experimental, You can hear people are spending mucho money per month for their prescription.
Right.
So, but there are also other things that can help, that I've been able to help people, depending on your financial situation. There are certain insurance carriers
Mhm.
that if we write to them, we can make some exceptions.
Oh,
and
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So this is where I said having an agent who cares will
Mhm.
make a world of a difference.
Mhm.
All
Mhm.
right. Because especially if you are experienced like I am, having been so long in the industry,
Mhm.
there are things that I'm aware of
Mhm.
that are not like written in stones, but are
Mhm.
worth trying and that can
Mhm.
give some very positive result for the patient.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. That makes sense. So in terms of cost, I mean, I know you can't give us exacts, but
Well, it
where,
depends on the drugs, what type of
uh,
drugs.
mhm,
Okay.
mhm.
So I cannot give you a cost because I don't know what kind of drugs you're talking about.
No drugs. I was just going to say cost for the insurance annually compared to just regular normal insurance compared to the United States. Because I know that a lot of people are really surprised at the stark difference, and what they can actually get, and also explain the type of coverage that people can get. I've had like my policies where they run down and they're like, we cover this and we cover that, and it's I think more than what we think it will be, and it costs a lot less. So let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, we can talk about that. So what I'm going to say, it depends on let's say for someone who has a clean bill of health
Mhm.
and you're young. When I mean young, in
Mhm.
the insurance industry, uh, anyone under 50,
Mhm.
okay, will benefit from a much favorable premium than if you are 50 or older.
Okay.
Okay. And that goes whether for health, life insurance,
Mhm.
all of these. Under 50s, you're
Mhm.
still getting a very favorable premium. So that it depends, as I said, on the age. And
Mhm.
here in San Miguel, I'm going to tell you, most of the quotes that we get
Mhm.
are for people who are older.
Right.
Okay, we don't get that many that are younger
Mhm.
because most of the population who are here in the expats,
Mhm.
they are from 50 and up.
Correct.
Okay, so that's what we've seen so far.
Mhm.
And I gave you a range depending on what's going on in that person's health status.
Right.
We can see 2,000 a year,
Mhm.
all the way up to the 10,000 a year.
For the deductible
No. For the premiums,
premium.
what
Oh,
they
yes.
pay
Yes.
annually.
Okay. Right. So I'll talk about my experience. For I'll speak about the first year when I was here, and it's since gone up, but not outrageous.
Mhm.
The first year, I think I paid approximately 1,600 US to 2,000 US, but this was for me and my child.
Sure.
And my deductible for the year was about 1,000. So let's call it 2,600 if I needed insurance to really kick in and cover me. And I remember, and still the same, the coverage was very thorough. So, like you had an emergency, basically you were covered 100%. If you needed just kind of regular care after you pay your deductible and something came up, I think we were covered still 100%, depending on what it was, maybe 80% or 90%. there were just like so many parts and pieces that were really for that affordable price compared to, you know, my experience in living in the United States, where it was great coverage, in my opinion. I haven't had to use it, thankfully, but if I did, I do think it'd be good.
That's why it was so affordable. It's because of your age. You're still young.
Well, no, I'm in my 50s, but thank you.
Yeah, but at the time you got it, you weren't 50 yet, right?
Yeah, I was about 50, turning 50. I think I was 49, turning 50. And of
You were
course, this
right
was
to the
pre.
borderline.
Yeah, I know. I remember them saying that too, borderline. And when you turn 50, it went up a little bit, but it still isn't outrageous. But you know, I just remembered the guy reading the whole list down, and I remember saying like, oh, this is covering quite a bit. Yeah.
So once I get the information from the applicant, I'm going to send back the quote with all of the rundown, like you're talking about, to use your word.
Right.
It'll come automatically. And
Okay.
the coverage is excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. But what people get hung up on is at the beginning, what we just talked about, is when you need to activate a claim, how to go about doing this.
Right.
And as good as a policy can be, if the process of the claim is not being made on a timely basis so that, you know, the premium, so that the claims could be paid, that would be unnecessary anxiety on somebody who's already recovering from a treatment to go through. And this is why at our agency, we have that claim department who knows the policy that you have, and we have direct contact with the insurance claim department. So it's claim to claim, and then we can get things going pretty fast.
Okay. Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay.
When you agree to a policy, and we've discussed all of the details of the coverage, then we can go ahead and put in and request to have the policy. And this is when the premium is going to be paid, depending on the mode of payments that you want to do, because you can do it monthly, quarterly, semi-annually, or even annually.
I was going to ask you that. Okay.
Yeah.
And okay, so, and also, I'm assuming, yeah, your company also can take a credit card. So, and there are various ways, because I remember they offered me several options on how to pay. Because this particular insurance I got was so affordable, I just paid the entire amount. But I know in the past, through other carriers or agencies, I was able to pay in installments if needed, or pay all together. Yeah. Sorry, my kiddo keeps crossing through the screen on the floor.
That's okay.
It's life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we offer all kind of mode of payments to facilitate. You can even name the date of the month that you choose if you do it on a monthly basis.
Okay.
So that we can coincide with the income that you're receiving, whether it's your Social Security or your paycheck, whatever that would be.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit about, I think we mentioned it before we got on, the Medicare, Medicaid?
This is a very hot topic in Mexico, because, as you know, most expats are whether Medicare recipient or close to it or whatever. So this is what I mentioned also earlier. If you have Medicare, I'm a recipient of Medicare.
Okay.
So I can tell you about that. So if you have Medicare, and if we go back to your scenario that there is an emergency, okay, so you are taken to the medical center, you are, first of all, the first thing that they're going to is to find out the diagnosis. If it's something that's going to require serious surgery or long treatments to get you rehabilitated. So what they do, they stabilize you and then send you back to your home country.
Okay.
Because if you're on Medicare, if we want to talk a little bit about that, Medicare basically, you have very little deductible, if at all.
Right.
Okay. And you're taken care of everything, going to see the doctor, surgeries, therapy if needed. You know what I mean? So at almost no cost to the recipient. So this is what they would do for you here, is to stabilize and send you back in that way that you can continue to get the care that you need. All right. Okay. Now, if you're not Medicare and you have an insurance provided by Alex Dupuy through the insurance agency, then we will take care of you in Mexico.
Right, exactly.
You know?
Yes, I mean, I'm sold on it. I think, and you know, I think to your point, which is you being the point of contact for anything that could come up, where you could call and speak to someone in the company in regard to some special thing or circumstance. So that for me is already just kind of a plus, because, you know, I think a lot of times insurance is one of those things that becomes more transactional until you need help, right? It's just kind of, oh, I need coverage, I need to get it. You're not necessarily getting to know someone personally. And I think that having someone that can kind of vouch for something that could come up, especially for us being older, you know, needing maybe some extra special care or some extra special doctor or thing. And even for those who have children, you know, like myself, having someone who can kind of, you know, guide you through that process, I think is really important. And I know that a lot of the people who pass through Casa Elm, this is definitely one of the top things, right up there with where am I going to live? What does my insurance look like? And what does my house look like? Or where, you know, what are these costs? And I think that that's often a selling point when people know that they can still be covered, especially if they have conditions, pre-existing conditions and things. Leading into my next question is, if someone has insurance in the United States, is it Medicare? Medicare, right?
Medicare.
Right. Does your company provide, or do you recommend like maybe like a partial insurance? I'm not sure if that would be considered like I'm not going to even say what I was going to say because I'm not sure if that's the right terminology.
No,
but
I mean,
coverage.
there are no stupid questions. I mean, all questions.
No, okay, like a rider kind of policy where you have coverage over there, but just in case something catastrophic happened here, or, you know, maybe you don't want to go back for the smaller things, would you recommend, and is it accepted to have something here and also coverage over there? Do you need to disclose that somehow?
No, you do not have to disclose that. So it depends what's going to happen. Most of our health insurance requires the full coverage that we provide here in Mexico. It is required, first of all, for the insured be at least a resident or having some kind of a visa that would allow you to stay in Mexico.
Okay. Not a tourist visa, though.
Not a tourist visa. See, with a tourist visa, we can get you that short-term medical that I was telling you about for a year or less.
Gotcha. Okay, so if someone is here for 180 days, right? Because that's for the tourists, you can get them short term. Is that considered the travel insurance, or is that something else?
It will be under the travel insurance because they'll be considered traveling for a short period of time that is considered to be under 1 year.
Okay, good. Okay.
So what I was going to say is, I had something important and then I kind of lost it for now. Okay, I lost my train of thought because I was going to mention. Yeah, I got it.
Mhm.
I'm going to go back to what I had said earlier.
Mhm.
Having a doctor here in Mexico
Mhm.
is of the optimum importance.
Right.
Okay, so if you have Medicare or you have medical insurance here, you'd be taken care of for whatever you need to have taken care of here in Mexico.
Mhm.
What you would be paying for instance, I'm taking an example on me. I am a Medicare recipient. When I go and see my doctor for a visit,
Mhm.
I pay the visit. Medicare will not pay the visit to the doctor here in Mexico because it
Okay.
is not an emergency.
Gotcha.
You understand?
Mhm.
And there are coverage through Medicare for international traveling if you
Mhm.
are in need in case of an emergency.
Mhm.
But if you just
Okay.
go and see a doctor just to check up, to have a checkup, or get a prescription for a medication,
Mhm.
you're going to pay out of pocket.
Okay. Okay.
The insurance that I provide here in Mexico,
Mhm.
it will be paid for. You
Okay.
don't have to pay out of pocket
Okay.
because it's an insurance that is made here for the market here in Mexico.
Right.
Full coverage.
Mhm.
You understand? But if
Correct.
you're on Medicare or you have an outside health insurance that has not been provided for Mexico,
Mhm.
then you need to have out-of-pocket expenses to go and see
Mhm.
your doctor, pay for your prescriptions and stuff like that.
Okay. All right. So this is going to be applicable to short-term and also long-term insurance.
No, if I provide you with a short-term medical and you
Mhm.
are in Mexico for Mexico,
Mhm.
you'll be good to go for that period of time.
Right. Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
I
It's
do.
just like having full insurance here in Mexico,
Right. No,
but it's restricted to the period of time.
right. That makes sense. So with the travel insurance, though, you're providing it for here in Mexico, but also if I'm a resident here and I'm traveling somewhere else, it's
Yes.
for the time frame.
We do
That
the
makes
same
sense
thing.
because it's short term.
Right.
But within the short term, you're saying that there's not a deductible, or can you choose a deductible amount with a short-term policy?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And that insurance will cover me, for instance, globally? Are there some
Yes,
exceptions to the countries?
absolutely.
Okay. What
Yeah.
countries are not covered? Because I know sometimes there are a couple like North Korea.
Okay, that I will not be able to
Don't
answer
know.
that to you now.
Okay.
However, once you do that application, that form that
Mhm.
my link provides, and you tell us which country that you are planning on going, then we will be able to make sure that you are covered for that country or tell you this country will not have coverage. So
Okay.
you will know in advance whether or not we'll be
Okay.
able to have that.
Okay. So for those who are contemplating Mexico, interested in moving here and traveling to Mexico, contact Alex because he can give you short-term medical coverage
Absolutely.
while you're here, if you're here
Up to a
for
year.
up to a year, right?
Yep.
Short term is under a year or less, and that's plenty, typically to cover anyone that has a tourist visa. And then for those who live here, then you also offer medical insurance for long-term coverage. So this is great. I wanted to acknowledge and say welcome to Caramel. she wanted to know what other languages did you speak, because insurance is sometimes hard to understand, and it helps when the communication can take
Yes,
place
I
in a
do.
native language.
I do have my accent. I do speak French fluently. So I can provide insurance to Canadian, French, Belgian, Swiss, French Swiss, anybody who actually speaks English, African from the Northern Eastern African, everybody who speaks, who can speak French.
Okay. Okay, well, I wanted to, because I'm not sure if you were on in the earlier part of the recording or the live. And also you're welcome. Thank you. I appreciate being acknowledged for the information. I think it's important. You know, these are questions we get all the time in our community, and people want to know, right?
Yes.
But I wanted to say, in regard to this particular insurance company that he's working with, I use them now, and I had an excellent experience, and it was not even with or through Alex. It started with Alex telling me about them, and I said, here's what I need. And, you know, he connected me with the right individuals that were super efficient, spoke in English very clearly. Well, the first guy that called me, I think he had a little bit of a struggle, but I expected that. So we were Spanglishing. And then Mari called me, and I thought she was in the United States, actually.
Right.
I really thought
she's right there in Puerto Vallarta.
Yeah, I know.
Anybody who goes to Puerto Vallarta, you can go and visit us. Guardian Insurance Agency, we right downtown, not too far from Costco, as a matter of fact. So if you go to Costco, you go a block up north,
Yeah.
You'll see us.
Okay, I actually know
Very
where
nice
that Costco
office.
is. Okay, excellent.
Mhm.
So, yeah, so I just wanted to say that there are individuals that are able to speak English that are native Mexicans. So this is their native language, but they're able to communicate with us. And, you know, Alex is kind of representing the portion of the insurance company that he works for in terms of the medical part. But they do provide, and we said this in the beginning, but I want to go through it again. They provide travel, medical insurance with evacuation. They provide short and long-term policies. They provide property insurance, auto insurance, life insurance. Also.
Life insurance as well. And I have a program, by the way, that it's not only if you pass away that the proceeds are paid to the beneficiary. It also has a component of living benefits. In other words, if you were to be stricken with cancer, suffering a heart attack, stroke, needing a major organ transplant, all of those major illnesses where you can tap into the life insurance, and they can pay a lump sum amount of money from the life insurance in order to have your needs taken care of. So it's taking care of in case of your demise, and also living benefit if you were, let's say, to suffer a stroke and become paralyzed. You know, you will be able to tap into the face amount in order to face the needs of your new lifestyle at that time.
Oh, okay. That's good to know. I feel like there's still so much to ask you, but someone asked a question. Is there a waiting period before the insurance becomes effective if they are already in Mexico? And
not at all.
No.
So when we get the application, if you want it to right away, we can make it the date of the application.
Okay.
Or you can say, no, I want it, let's say you do it on the 15th and you say, okay, I want it to start the 1st of the coming month.
Okay.
You can do that.
Okay. All
but
right.
it can be retroactive to the date of the applications once the application is approved.
Okay. And I'll also say that as soon as I paid, I got my policy by email within
That's
not
the
even an
beauty
hour.
of it.
Not even an
Nowadays,
hour.
Everything is electronic.
Right,
Okay?
right.
The process will be done electronically,
Mhm.
but we provide the human services to you.
Yes.
And this is the beauty, to be able to blend those two together, because as I said, with our services, once we are made aware, I'm going to tell you, being in the business for so long,
Mhm.
people have claims, they just go ahead and put their claims to the insurance carrier, and the insurance carrier, the claim department is sitting waiting for a piece of information. They must have sent them a letter, they did not realize what it was.
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden, you get a phone call and says, well, your insurance, you guys promised this and that and this. So
Mhm.
when I go and find out, this is the first I hear about it. And
Right,
then we find out that, they're waiting on a piece of paper, whether from a doctor or a medical center, that's what's holding the claim.
right,
And this is
exactly.
where we come in. If we are not aware of what's going on, then we will not be able to expedite the claim for it.
Right, right. Well, I think it's really special to have you here to represent that. And, I think a lot
It's a
of the,
pleasure. It's a
yeah,
pleasure.
I'm glad you approached me and asked me to come on and share, because I know we missed the conference that you had here in San Miguel. And I was like, okay, Alex, you didn't tell us about this before it
I
happened.
found that, I tell you, I found out about it from my doctor.
Okay.
When I
Oh,
went,
okay.
when I went to the Mac hospital, and I went to see her for a checkup, and then she says, well, we having those conferences once a year. Why don't you come and talk about your program? And I said,
Okay.
really? So that's how my associates from Puerto Vallarta, Antonio Rejo,
Mhm.
came down. We came down with all our gears, and we had a booth and everything.
Oh, okay. I know. I
But I
saw the
wasn't aware of it.
picture and I
Yeah.
was just like, oh, you should have told us about it. But
Yeah.
yeah,
And that
no.
was the time that I was starting to work on my Facebook page. Because
Okay.
as I told you, I didn't have a Facebook before. But for those who are on LinkedIn who wants to go, I've been on LinkedIn forever. So I'm on LinkedIn
Okay.
and I'm on Instagram, but I'm not sure if it's for business. It's probably a private. I have opened it so long ago that I don't really remember, but I am also on Instagram. I don't do
Okay.
much activity there, mostly LinkedIn, and now, of course, Facebook, that I'm learning
Okay.
still.
Okay. Well, there's a lot of info there. Okay. So Heather just dropped a comment. Heather was actually a part of my April relocation tour. And I saw her just a week ago. She was at the brunch and she was also at a restaurant. I happened to waltz in with Kathy, who is also on tonight, and another guest that was here this past week. And she said, thank you so much. She is going to reach out, or she already reached out to you, and she's going to be moving to Merida in March of next year. So she's definitely interested in insurance.
Oh, great.
So
Merida,
yeah,
huh? She's
yeah,
going to the hot area of
yeah, she wants
Mexico.
to be hot. I don't blame
Yeah,
her,
but it's nice out there. It's very, very
yeah.
nice. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
So, yeah, and I always say that, you have to see Mexico and you have to see yourself in the place, and you need to do the research. And, once you're there, kind of immerse yourself as much as you can in the language, the culture, traditions, the holidays, the whole nine. So I think I'm getting a little frozen. Hopefully we stay on. There's thunder and lightning here, Alex,
Oh,
just
really?
so you know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay, so Roosevelt had a question. How about pre-existing conditions?
Yeah, as I
How's that
said,
determined?
on
What do
the
you do with that?
pre-existing conditions, once we submit the application, oh, look what I'm seeing here. Okay,
But
somebody's got the Blue Mountain coffee bag, and I think that must be Frederica. I'm looking at it.
ah,
Okay, she found it at Costco, I guess. Because I remember when you were at the house, I mentioned that you tasted that coffee. Yeah, so the pre-existing condition,
yes, that coffee.
it depends on how serious it is. It may not affect you at all when you get the policy. or they may possibly put a restriction for 6 months, a year, or 2 years.
Blue Mountain Jamaican.
So yeah, so that's this is why I said it's good to put in the information. They're going to review it at the underwriting department. And as I said, we have many different insurance companies. So one might be more lenient on the underwriting than the other. All right. So this is why it's good to put the information, and then they're going to review it and we'll come back with the best coverage possible at the best price possible.
I can't hear you any longer. I think it's my side.
Yeah, because I see you well and I hear you well.
I kind of cut out for a moment. Hold on a sec, because we have thunder and lightning over here.
Okay.
I don't know. Man, okay. Can you hear me, Alex?
Yes.
Okay, I cannot hear anything now, and it's
Wow.
trying to reconnect me on the YouTube side.
Okay.
So I'm not sure what happened here. Let me see. No. Oh. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes. Okay, now I don't hear you. Not now that you took this off, I don't hear you.
Okay, I can hear
Yes.
you now. I don't know.
Okay,
it
now
just
I
kind
got
of-
you. I hear you now. I hear you now.
Okay, there's some interference. Okay, good. Someone said they can hear both of us.
Okay, great. So let me go back. Let me go back for those who didn't hear. On the questions from Michelle was about the pre-existing conditions. What I was saying is that once that you submit the form from that link, we're going to submit it to different insurance carriers who's going to review your case. And there may be some restrictions, there may not be some restrictions. It depends on the severity of the health issue. All right. So, but we will come back with proposals for you, and we can choose from them, because there are some carriers who are more lenient towards certain health issues versus others. Okay. Are you hearing me, Michelle? Don't think she's hearing me. I don't hear you. I don't know if the audience heard me, because I've tried to answer your question about the pre-existing. Not sure if they heard it. Not sure if they.
I can hear you now, but there's like a short.
I think it's because it's thunder and lightning outside.
You sound so funny. It's like your voice is on a high speed.
That's because it's slowing down.
Okay, now I hear you well.
Alvin and the chipmunks.
No, now, yes, now I hear you well. So, were you able to hear me on the answer to the pre-existing?
I heard most of it, but it wasn't very clear. But
Okay,
yes.
what about the audience? Can they tell us whether or not? Should I go over that again?
Okay, I think they said they can hear you. I see we can hear Alex and sometimes Michelle. So what you're saying is more important than what I'm saying. So go for it.
Okay. So maybe I need to go over pre-existing again. I was trying to say that pre-existing is not a serious issue, because we deal with so many carriers Once we get that form with all those informations, we're going to submit them. And there are some carriers who are more lenient than others. And we will come back with various proposals for you to choose from. Okay. So some may not have an issue with the pre-existing. Some may have a restriction for 6 months, a year. I've seen some 2 years for cancer, depending on what type of cancer. So we will have to work it out case by case and see how it goes.
Okay, that makes sense. I hope you can hear me okay.
Yes.
I think the technology over here is not going to stay on I mean, you know how it is, crazy lightning and thunder right now. I'm looking out the window. But I think that we covered a lot of information. And if anyone has any questions at all, please do feel free to reach out to Alex. You can find him on Facebook under Alex Dupuy, D-U-P-Y.
Dupuy.
Link
Dupuy.
under to where you need to get to it. And also in the chat earlier on, we put the email address and a few other pieces of information. I don't know if I sound like how the chipmunks right now. But we're probably
You're breaking pretty badly. So my suggestion would be for Michelle to invite me again at a future time. So we can have more discussion about this. So we can have more discussion about.
Yes.
Meanwhile,
maybe we'll have you back
me,
on next week.
Meanwhile, anyone who wants to contact me, they can do so, whether through the link or by my WhatsApp. And I'll be more than happy to respond to you. Okay. Okay.
Sounds like a plan. Thank you so much. Thank you.
No, thank you so much, Michelle, and your viewers and the whole Black San Miguel group. I really appreciate it. So hopefully I can join you pretty soon at a future event. And then talk to you then. Okay.
All right. Thank you all. Thank you all. Sorry for the technical problems, but you have the recording, and we'll definitely have Alex back to talk some more about all of the issues and all the questions. And I appreciate you all. Have a good night.
Thank you. Have a good night. Thank you so much.
Ciao.
Bye. Bye.
End the stream. 1 second.